Yesterday we got a massive bit of information regarding the new main camera sensor in the Galaxy S11, and it could just be a huge upgrade. So we've known for a while now that the biggest area of improvement for the Galaxy S11 series is going to be the camera. Samsung are going all out in the S11 and changing up the hardware. It's been rumored to include a periscope style zoom camera like we see in the Huawei P30 Pro. It will use a very similar type of technology with the camera positioned off to the side and the lenses arranged in a periscope style. Also, we know that Samsung are changing the sensor under the main camera unit for the first time in years, a much needed upgrade for that camera. So a bigger sensor, initially thought to be around 16 megapixels. That would be a solid upgrade and a bump up in megapixels, certainly for flagship phones that usually use around a 12 megapixel sensor. This is thought to be the sweet spot for those types of phones. Well, according to Ice Universe on Twitter anyway, Samsung have torn up the rulebook and thrown it out the window because they could possibly be using a brand new 100 or 108 megapixel camera sensor in the Galaxy S11. Can we believe this rumor? Well, Samsung have already made a 108 megapixel camera sensor that Xiaomi are going to use in the imminent Note 10 and CC9 Pro, which actually makes this rumor even more unclear. The Galaxy S11 is a flagship phone for Samsung, and it would be extremely unusual for them to give that sensor first to Xiaomi. But according to his tweet anyway, this camera sensor will be new, possibly an upgraded version of that camera technology with some hardware tweaks that would make it even better. We should remember that the 108 megapixel camera sensor that Samsung made uses tetracell technology, so actually it will take 27 megapixel images as standard. Huawei uses extremely large camera sensors in its phones with higher megapixels, and then uses pixel binning to take those 40 megapixel sensors down to 10 megapixels for normal imaging purposes, although you can use the full pixel readout if you want. So Samsung might just be joining the race with Huawei and now with Xiaomi, albeit a little bit late. More pixels does not necessarily mean better photos. Actually, the way a photo looks is more determined by exposure and color science. Just ask Canon and Sony DSLR users if you want to know more about that. But a photo with more pixels is sharper, and that is completely unquestionable. So you can crop into the image a little bit without losing detail. Those images do look crisper and clearer, especially even if you just crop in 10 or 15%, which is something that we do quite often. So before we get excited about this rumor, high probability, like Universe Ice said, is not a certainty. There's also no evidence to go along with the tweet, so we can't back this up ourselves. So we have a periscope type zoom camera for the Galaxy S11 rumored, and a possibility of a very large camera sensor with high megapixels and pixel binning. It does sound very much like the camera that we get in the P30 Pro, and these camera upgrades may be a way for Samsung to go more head to head with the Huawei P series phones, as the Galaxy S11 series and the P series do release at around about the same time. Subscribe for the latest tech news and everything to do with Samsung. That's it for now, but I'll see you in the next one.